Hey, how's it going? Oh man, I picked a bunch of cards from the, hold on, the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck. But first, look at my signs, please. Do I need to make them closer? I'll make them a little closer. Alright, and the lamp, of course, is washing out the 8-ball. I mean, oh yeah, I guess it is a magic 8-ball. Oh, come on. It's like the dimmest bulb. Not that it's dumb, but it's just not. It's the lowest wattage. And it's just still washing out my sign. You know what? It says you can do it. Okay? That's all. It's a fine point pen. It's my bad. It's my terrible, oh so bad. Alright. So, yeah, I pulled 4 fell out. And, I'm just going to show you them. First was Repairing the Veil. And subtitle on that one is Forgiveness. And it's number 45, which breaks down to 9. And then the next one was Horned Cactus. And the subtitle for this one is Resourcefulness. And 9 and 2 is 11. And boy, am I going to talk about 11 on that one. This card here, number 37, Magician's Sword, Confidence in Your Magic. And this one, finally pulled it for the first time, Joyful Muse, Inspiration, number 33. The spirit number. Also, I guess the age Jesus died. Why do we commemorate that? That's not happy. That's like commemorating the 27 Club. Not happy. Like, anyway. This card, though, is very happy. This little kitty is joyous, at the least, I could say. I just don't know what to do with you. You're not really helping. Okay, wow, you know... Oh, I know what I could do here. Stuck in such pain. Ow, it's hot. Fumble, fumble! Come on. Oh, come on. Stop being so not helpful. There. That's better. So, oh, look at that. Now you can see it. So, it's a kitty. And if you're following along, yesterday I was talking about how I am somewhat obsessed with kitties. But this cat has butterflies around its little eyeglasses. He's wearing some very thin wireframe glasses. But on the edges here, if you'll notice, there's butterfly wings. I don't know if you can see that. Well, people with better vision than I should be able to see that. It's like really up close. I know they're there, but if you think I can see the butterfly wings right now, you would be mistaken. It's like right in front of my face. Now I see it. Oh, you know, I guess they're not like super bright. They actually look more like moth wings. You know how they're sort of like white and gray and black and maybe brown. So they are a little bit blending in with the cat's hair, but no matter. I just saw something before I started doing this, just in passing. Like, it wasn't even about what I was watching. It was just something that someone said in the middle of it, which was, if you're seeing butterflies, they signify new beginnings. Well, if you're making new creations all the time, that makes sense. So, I was looking at the fiddle that the cat has, made me think of the nursery rhyme. So I'm looking thinking of the nursery rhyme, I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, there's the moon, but I'm like, where's the cow? So then I realized, oh wait, that is not the moon actually. What it is two cats sitting together. There's like an orange one and a white one, and they sort of look like a yin yang. For some reason, the orange cat is much darker and harder to see. Oh, I'm wrong. Oh, fuck, I don't know. Now it looks like it's on a red pillow, but I don't know. And then on the other side, it's either a cat or a crab going like this. I don't know. But that is the only one that I have not read from the guidebook, and that I didn't just get its own, private association. Okay, I thought I pulled 4. Where is the 4th one? Always something has to go diving for the floor. Hold on. It's the sword one, which I didn't say is number 37, which breaks down to 10, which breaks down to 1. Another one of those Holy Spirit numbers. So as I was saying, I'm pretty familiar with the other cards, but like I said, I have not pulled this one, this Joyous Muse one, before. So I will read the guidebook and see what it has to say. I guess I did my trailing off thing, and this is not the right ones. Oh, there it is. And trailed off without finishing the sentence. But, I already, like, right when I pulled these, I got, like, oh, okay, I guess that's what I'm talking about. But I did, write down some of it. Sorry, there's something under my bare foot, and it's just a complete distraction, and I don't know what it is. Anyway, reading from the guidebook about the Joyful Muse. You know what a muse means? I don't know if everyone is aware of muse. It's like the creative inspiration. Usually when you're talking about a muse, it's in the form of a woman that is like so beautiful that she just inspires art to some artists. And I'm laughing because artists are weird people, to say the least. So, reading from the book. Joyful Muse, inspiration, the gift of play, inner child. The Joyful Muse invites you to be more playful, to have more mirth and joy in your life. You've become boring to yourself, even as others continue to find you interesting. I've seen that with a lot of people. Does like bad things to their mind and their self-esteem, makes them behave like almost like they want to hurt themselves or other people. It's weird. Circumstances have dulled your edge. It's time to change. Not the things around you, but your attitude. Blow a morning kiss to yourself in the mirror. Smile at a stranger. Wink to a child. Be mildly but elegant. Be mildly but elegantly inappropriate. This is my jam. being inappropriate. I don't know how elegant it is. Pardon me. Where did that go? The Joyful Muse is a source of inspiration, a wild and disruptive feminine force that compels you to invite more pleasure and delight into your life. Give yourself permission to be mischievous and find humor in the tragedy while careful not to become frivolous. The power of this muse will shake up everyone around you and invite you to create beauty and grace out of the pain and tragedy you perceive in areas of your life. Well, I mean, that's what a sad song is all about, isn't it? The Joyful Muse often comes at a time when darkness prevails and the future seems dour. Dour? I've heard it both ways. Embrace her gifts, being playful without being silly. Invite the child inside you to come out for a play date, and he or she will help you to return to your innate innocence. The place of never been there, never done that. Even if it is the same routine you wake up to every morning. Well, they didn't. I don't think they gave enough detail about that whole bit about invite the child inside you to come out for a play date, and he or she will be able to help you return to your innate innocence, comma, the place of never been there, never done that, comma, even if it is the same routine you wake up to every morning. They left out the part in there where you make this shift from never been there, never done that, becoming part of your morning routine. A new part, a newly imagined part, a newly creative part. That's not instant. That takes a little bit of time and intention, and you gotta like change your attitude, basically. So that card does fit in with the overall theme that I got in the first place, and I wrote some about it, but then I got interrupted to go shopping and didn't write more, so I'm gonna have to wing it for the last part. So as far as the veil is concerned, I wrote, we're constantly repairing the veil. Isn't it interesting? And yes, this time give it that low vibe sting. The way that 45, the ex-so-called president, always has a mouthful of contradictions. Insists on loyalty but seems unable and unwilling to reciprocate. Talks tough guy talk, but tough guy? Authentic ones never need to say so. Usually a look conveys the message. Like, they look at you and you get it like, oh, this is not a person to F with. Same with people of intelligence. They're far too busy with intellectual pursuits, and engaging socially is nowhere on their list of priorities, let alone announcing their pedigree constantly when no one's asked. Inducing people to violence, hatred, and calling a scene of unwarranted attacks on our own people and institutions. That's not the love and unity he professes them to be. I feel like he knows it, and it's the best he can do. Like attracts like, and need only make sense to them. But along the way, their words and actions hurt people, which circles back to them. All of the emotional injury and physical violence of course. All of the emotional injury and physical violence, of course, wounds the veil. This is what I feel. Whatever it is, it's connected to our energetic output, causing contraction. If we injure it, making any aperture for entry within very hard for anyone to penetrate. So that's what I had to say about this. To sum up, people get talked into and somewhat herded into doing things that, I mean, if you decide to do something, then you have decided that you've made that decision. You have given who and whatever you're following the power. And when the person leading you, when they have like two settings, which is like love me and fluff me, and if you don't, I'm gonna call you every name in the book and sick my people on you. That's what he does, and that is what I'm saying wounds the veil, because the veil right now is thinning. However, if you make thick-headed decisions, you might cause the veil to thicken at your location, and so it may not be on your conscious mind that you want to be able to penetrate the veil or have it just open to you or thin away, dissipate to nothing. It ain't gonna let you past it if you don't have the right attitude. That is the feeling I get. And so I would think that if you're doing all kinds of things that are of harm to the other people, and you have given your power to someone that is leading you astray, then the veil might say to itself, maybe a little later for you, I'm just going to make it a little thicker where you are, so it's going to take you longer to get to because you need to do some work on yourself. It's just an impression. So the next card that I pulled was, and repairing the veil is forgiveness is the subtitle, and that obviously has to do with what the card is saying, just at face value, and also what I was saying, because the angry people, first of all, if you're not one of them and they make you angry and they sort of bring up in you a like response, that's not good. And it's like somebody has to realize, when to stop. Like, it is possible to let someone say their bad words and ill feelings towards others and whatever else it is without responding back. Like, it's not necessary. There's other responses to have, like no response, or to just nod and say okay or nothing and just like acknowledge what they said, or even laugh. But you have many other choices than joining in the aggression and the violence and the chaos. So it's not the veil's job to forgive people in the situations where it feels like it needs to become denser. It is waiting for those people to get it together themselves, because that's what will get you through. When you get your vibration right, then it's easier. I mean, I don't even know penetrate, like that's like a big ask for a lot of us, I think. But I think being near what's on the other side, and you would be able to feel it coming through better the thinner the veil is, and you could gain like a lot of strength. And I would say everything you need aside from food and shelter, from that being that close to divinity, it would help you unlock things inside yourself that are magnificent and fascinating and as yet unknown for a lot of people. I'm talking about the Akashic Record. Okay, so the forgiveness. Well, first we gotta forgive ourselves for looking down on these other people that I was talking about earlier. And then we gotta forgive them if they are hurting us or triggering us somehow. Although I feel like they need the forgiveness more than anyone. I just feel like it would help. Even if it initially pissed them off, I think eventually if they had a moment of peace, they could see that like what was being offered was not a dig or a judgment, just a helping hand, just a someone a listening ear. So okay, the next card I pulled was Horn Cactus, number 29, 9 2 11. And as you can see, there is a face sort of embedded in that cactus body, and it suggests that there is a body to go along with the face. Like the person has a cactus that grown around them. He grown around them, man. What happened? Or it grew out from the inside of them, like as a protective measure. But actually, when I was looking at this earlier and I got the 11, like, immediately a few things come to mind. But first came to mind was the twin flame association with number 11, because I will read from my my scribblings. Horned cactus. Resourcefulness is the subtitle for this divisible of 11, and it makes me think of a twin flame couple. The card reads cactus, not cacti, so one half, and it stands alone in its desert home. Depending on the eye of the beholder, the desert can be bleak and desolate. Some even say lifeless, as they swat flies. I roll. Also, veg, like all over the place, scrub brush, but also cactus, tumbleweeds, lichen, weeds. So also cactus. However, the one pictured that seems to house a humanoid, I do not believe they grow in a cluster. They stand alone and persevere through whatever changes life brings, and staying aligned with compassion and unconditional love. What else to contemplate in such a life? You're basically like no social media, no contact, no fingers, no digits. But you can see out of your cactus coating, and I wonder if this twin that I imagine of course has a corresponding partner, a twin, but they are perhaps not incarnate here on Earth with this twin, or they just may not be incarnate at all, and they may be working with their twin to do the twin flame magic, because that's a thing. But you can look that up. There's so much about it. I'm not even gonna try and go into it. Twin flame, look it up. But sometimes one twin is for a lifetime separate from the other person, or not separate energetically, because there's a bond there from many lifetimes spent and divinity, I guess, that can't be denied, and it never goes away. But you could be either twin doing something completely other in a different place than the other twin. It doesn't untwin you. It doesn't take away the twinhood. And in that case, I mean, I don't know if a person could be that brokenhearted that they are without their twin, that they meld with a cactus. So maybe the prickly outer visage is a metaphor. Are you taking it hard that you don't have your twin, or are you just putting up a barrier because you know, like the artist and the scientist, you got better things to do than be worrying about social media and what somebody said and what they thought about what you said, if you said something or if you didn't say something, if you looked the wrong way. If you show your face on social media or your voice, somebody's gonna find something wrong with it. So maybe you don't go and you isolate yourself from those kinds of things. Doesn't mean that it's unhealthy or you're gonna hurt yourself or something like that, but you're more likely to hurt yourself if you don't get away from the social media at least once in a while, because it works on everybody, and it's not good work. It's not all that helpful most of the time. I don't have bad social media, so I can't complain, but I have seen it. I have encountered it, so I do have a very good idea of what it looks like. And so maybe you're just that kind of person that doesn't need a whole bunch of people around you, and you may as well be a cactus alone out in the desert. And I say alone because I really don't think they grow in a cluster. I think they are single growths, because when I think about it, when I see one of these, it's just by itself, except for whatever little weeds are around that are not cactus. So it's like, you know what you have to do. It's not a big deal. You're just gonna like do what you gotta do. Work your job. Deal with people you gotta deal with. Deal with the life that comes along, because even if you do everything right or do things the best you can, life is gonna come along and throw you a curveball, because that's life. Curveballs all the time. Sometimes they mess you up. Sometimes they're fine. I hope I can get dinged for that. But anyway, just like, nothing is more important than just like making it through the day, and not like it's hard or anything and you're struggling. This cactus, this twin alone by itself, might have a full-on family, a job that's involves like a gregarious life and constantly socially in contact with people, just on a work basis. But there is an inner part of you that no one gets to access, and you keep it away from them, maybe with all those spines and pokey horns, and it's where you go for your peace. You can sink inside there, and barriers are up. You can, like, you don't have to worry about people. And I'm saying, like, I feel like I started off talking about like an office party where you're in there and you're just all bzz, like on automatic, shaking hands, saying the things that everyone expects, but you're not really there. You're not really paying attention. You're in your own world, and you don't even really have to pay attention. You can be automatic for that life, apparently, because I just said it. And what you're concentrating on is your peace of mind, the universe, like everything. The world is so much bigger than our personal bubble of a world. And, you know, eventually things will come to an end, the existence will come to an end, and you will meet your other half again, the other one of your 11. And so the next card I pulled was Magician's Sword, number 37. That breaks down to 10, and so that's 1. The subtitle for Magician's Sword is Confidence in Your Magic. Well, you know, they talk about if you're online looking at spiritual stuff, you are likely to come to something along the way that encourages you to use your gifts and innate abilities. And I'm not saying you have to be all psychic or whatever, but people have power of persuasion. People have the ability to tell if people are telling the truth. People can tell if you're feeling bad emotionally. People can tell if you're feeling bad and you're sick, like you have some sort of ailment and an illness or something. We're able to sense a lot of these things, and sometimes we develop them and they become more, and sometimes they even can become a business or something like that. And other times we just have them and use them when the need arises, you know. But either way, whatever you're doing, if you're going to do either of those things, you are employing your magic. And the thing about that, and really anything that you are trying to do that matters, that the completion of it matters to maybe someone else, but maybe most of all to yourself. But there's always somebody watching. Like, there's so many situations it could be, but you just want, I think, yeah, I'll accept the risk, go away. You want to be able to feel like whatever you're doing you're sure of, because especially if you're doing it in the form of like a practitioner for someone else, you know, whatever it is. And pretty much everything we do is for everyone else. Let's just get that straight right now. But if you don't have confidence, you are liable not to perform well. And we know what happens. Like, a lot of us don't do well with ourselves if we don't perform well and fail, or perform badly, and even if you don't fail, like, some of us sometimes just can't let that go. Like, sometimes you just fail, and then you get up and you do it again, unless you want to go all wallow in self-pity, and you probably are not going to improve your performance by doing that. Because like I said, confidence probably matters quite a bit. And I think that's not a secret. I think that's fairly well known. So this is something on a whole other level than, can I run this foot race fast enough, or lift this, dead weight, this huge amount of pounds, or drive this car faster, or whatever it is that you're wanting to succeed at and excel at. You need to build your confidence. You need to know yourself, like, I can do this. So that, and that, I think, in reference to just being the best fellow citizens to each other that we can, because I feel like in the not too distant future, a lot of people are going to have broken bubbles and big disappointments, and I would hate to see, when so many people are so upset and so disappointed, I would hate to see the other people that don't feel that way, that actually might feel gleeful at the outcome. I would hope that they would consider, like, maybe it's not great to gloat these already volatile people. Just a thought. And so we want to use that magic, those of us that consciously know we can do that or want to do that. We want to be a help and act as a buffer to that kind of pain, because I mean, I just wouldn't wish it on anyone. Like, feeling betrayed and feeling abandoned absolutely stinks. And so if I can help somebody that I know is kind of going through it and not feel as bad, then I would want to do that. I don't care what they're into, what their beliefs are. I don't have to know you or your blood type or your grandmother's maiden name. Like, it doesn't have to be that deep for me to just feel like I want to help. And so I think added confidence when you go to do that is not a bad thing for everyone involved. And this, being creative and going back to your inner child and allowing yourself to play and allowing for silliness, like, sometimes you need to let that into your life. And I'm a big believer in finding something silly to look at that makes me laugh and makes me smile, because a little bit goes a long way. And I'm not bummed or upset, but I have no issue. Like, I'll add to my happy. Why not? Because all it can do is raise your vibration, and I feel like that's the ultimate goal. That's my ultimate goal for myself, but also, I would like to be there to help people that come along to wanting to do the same. We're doing on time here, getting close. So I did pull one card from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck, and it was the Elephant. So I know I usually go matriarchal with these things, but today I saw this and it was just bull, elephant, and they come by those names. I would assume because of the bulls also have horns, tusks, and they have also a propensity for. Well, I don't know if elephants do this, but I know that bulls do. They will headbutt you. They'll ram their head into you, because that's one of their, physical weapons. So, this guy looks like they've had a tusk fight. And, it is carrying the ember, which is, when I would read stories about, like, tribal people, wherever over the world, there always seemed to be a fire tender. So somebody that walked around with an ember all the time, so nomadic peoples could, when they stopped, they could like get cook fires and warmth fires and utility fires going. And that's what I think of. Although their ember is fully aflame. I don't know. Could be from the breathing coming from the elephant nostrils that are like right at the flame. Yeah. So the elephant represents immense wisdom as well as good fortune. It is said that the great elephant is the destroyer of obstacles. But I had a thought about that earlier when I looked at this, and I had written raveling obstacles, and by raveling I mean I discovered recently that if you're saying raveling or unraveling, it basically means the same thing. So taking apart obstacles. But I have arrows pointing both ways, like this way and that way simultaneously. And I thought it was like they'll remove they'll put obstacles in the way, but I bet for I don't know what you call a tribe, a family. I'm sure they move stuff out of their own way, and they can move obstacles, and they're intelligent creatures. I mean, they've been used to work with people for hauling, and I don't know, like, I don't live in elephant country. I know sometimes there's stuff they do with trees in the jungle, like possibly like knocking them down and stuff like that, and then maybe having them tied to a harness somehow that they use to, haul away the logs. I'm not real sure on elephant life, I gotta tell you. I know there's Indian ones, and I think they're like those are the ones that are in like the jungle rainforest, and then there's African ones, and I think you really got to be near a body of water to see like a lot of vegetation in Africa. Although, I mean, I don't know that much about it as a dumb American, but I at least know that the whole thing is not one. There's like a bunch of. It's a continent. There's a bunch of nations on the African continent. I know that much. The terrain, I'm not so hot on. I know that wherever the Victoria Falls is, that seems pretty vegetation. Wherever the apes were with Jane Goodall, that looks pretty vegetation. But then I know there's other areas that are dusty and dry and sandy with not much vegetation or water. It's not the outback or anything like that. But Africa's big, so probably the countries are also big. And then, you better have a car or maybe a mule, I don't know, to get around, or maybe you hitchhike. Oh, there's buses, though. I know I've seen lots of stuff where there's these entrepreneurs that get a bus, and they're like the bus guy, and they have, like, painted themselves or their favorite song or their favorite actor or whatever it is. They're, like, very festive-looking things, and just kind of funny in a good way, like just kind of bringing a laugh out of me, and they're interesting to look at too. And I think they have like loudspeakers, and it's a whole thing. So it's not like, and also there's plenty of places in Africa that look just like any city anywhere with buildings and all of the same stuff that everywhere else has. We don't really know much about other countries. Apparently, it's not important for us to learn these things at school. And it's, wow, if you ever talk to a German and you display you don't know something and they don't like you, boy, will they let you know how dumb you are. And it hurts, because I wish they would educate us like they do Germans. I've met some dumbass Germans, but some people can't be taught. Some people don't want to be taught. Why am I talking about that? I have no idea. All I know is this guy is gonna fight. He's gonna carry fire in his prehensile nose hand. And he's like an Akash all of itself, as far as like what elephants need to know about being an elephant, like learning how to survive, because they're babies when their babies are born. They're much bigger than us, but they take about 2 years before the parents can sort of leave them on their own. And God knows I've seen several videos where the baby is like wandered into some stream and it's down a sheer drop that the elephant, with no fingers except its nose, can really get down there. And they know they're too heavy, and they know that if they're on like the edge of dirt at like a water's edge, that dirt's not going to support a gigantic elephant or a whole gang of them, because they will all come over to see, can we help save the baby? And in those videos, usually a human comes along and saves them, and saves gazelles and people from mud and quicksand. But the elephant, they have to teach the babies these things. Like, don't stand real close to the river's edge, because then if you fall down the drop, nobody will be able to come get you. And if there's no people around, somebody's going to come eat you, and it's going to be tragic, and nobody wants that. And they're intelligent. So, I mean, it would be as bad as if your baby wandered off like a bridge or something and you couldn't easily get to it, but it was right there, you know. It was like, they would feel as bad as you would feel. As bad, everybody would feel bad if their kid was somewhere they couldn't get to them and it was dangerous. And it's your baby. Like, elephants are people too. But the overarching theme for me is, again, we have some things going on that need dealt with amongst all of those people. Like, we're real good at not getting along. It's time to work on getting along again. Because the other thing is just, I'm always looking at a certain group of people because they seem to be the one that need the most attention, and not necessarily the kind that they are grabbing for themselves, but a lot of them are finding that, wow, I decided to follow this person or this ideology, and now I thought I was doing something and I was wrong. What I was doing wasn't even real, and now I'm in jail, my friends are in jail, and yes, I'm laughing, and sorry, it was a dumb idea. And the thing about it is, there's so much going on haywire and wrong. Like the whole trying to end a democracy here. We're like the democracy country, so this is wrong. But I always think, who hates that? We have people, other countries, people that run other countries, that hate the friendly and openness of friendliness and openness of America and Americans. Some of those places, the people there like are suspicious if you're smiling and happy, like we tend to be. Like, they think we're mocking them or something. And I just have to say, that's on you. Like, get your story straight, get your stuff straight. Somebody smiling is not automatically something against you just because that's how your mind works. And I got off track with the smiling, but there's countries out there that would like to see us not do well. And they have studied us for many years, and this is what they have a history of doing. These same countries, they're not real original in their attacks of other countries and dissidents, period. Like, they have some formulas, and they're highly recognizable. And actually, these days, they're not even trying to hide what they're doing very much. Although here, it's a dang shame, because they don't even have to work at hiding it. We, like, so many of us have gotten sucked up into this ideology and thinking that it's one thing, and not realizing that you're helping another country take your country over. And you don't even, it's like, psh, you don't even get it. They have turned you against your own countrymen. That right there should open everyone's eyes, because we all live in the same country. We can get at each other. I mean, people are talking about civil war. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it needs to, because it's too easy to just go out and shoot somebody. So, and that, who would benefit from us having a civil war? Get out your maps. take stock, because there are people out there that want that to happen. And every other country has their own intelligence agencies, their own spy agencies. And at least one of these countries has infiltrated our government more than once. And every time they do it, they get closer to a more cataclysmic outcome for America and democracy. But if we're attuned to us being screwed with, and we catch it, enough of us, we can once again deter it. Because, you know, don't try to develop good stuff in your own country. For sure, waste decades and decades being jealous and envious of another country that you feel like has all this stuff you want, or is doing all the things that either you want to do it or you don't want to do it. But either way, you don't want us doing it, because who knows? The countries that I'm thinking of are big countries with a bunch of people, and they would all, their citizens would all like to do better. And I'm sure they would prefer that the money that their country generates stay in the country and help the people of that country, instead of what happens in all of the countries now, where much of the money that's generated by those countries, ways are found to detour those funds right into like a couple of guys' pockets. And that is a technique. What they're doing, that's not government. That's like larceny and theft, and really like using the resources of your country and the people like a bank and tokens and funds. And like, life is cheap in these places. Gravity don't work in one of them in particular. Ew, is that a bug? Oh, that's a coffee ground. Right on. So, sorry, he got all into my water. All I'm saying is that there's a lot to look at that is affecting the people of my country. And I feel like there's a lot that people are looking at that completely has nothing to do with what's going on. Like, everything is a distraction. The stuff that they get upset about, and like everything to me, like just watching it is like, okay, I've seen this before. I know who's done that before. I know what happens when this happens. And the thing is like, what I'm referring to is directed by forces not of and in this country. People, if we seem like we're messing up and everything's going wrong, if you would have been paying attention for the past 8 years, you would know that certain things have been set in motion, and people are just so ripe for glomming onto these things, thinking it's one thing when it's really not. And there's a lot of reasons for these misperceptions, or misconceptions even. But I need to stop, like right now. My cat just arrived and it's way over time. So, you know, a lot of things to think about that I was talking about there, but all of it kind of ends up working toward like the actual unity of the collective. I mean, I feel like at some point all of the stuff that we've been doing that hasn't worked is gonna occur to everybody, that all of the stuff we've been doing hasn't worked, and so we need to do other things. And that is what I would like to see happen sooner than later. I would really like to see some teamwork and, like, you know, giving a crap about each other again, just because we're people, not because we're Americans or American this or American, you know, hyphen that, whatever. We're the people that are here, and we're living in the situation and working with each other and doing everything that a country does, all, you know, in concert with each other. So I don't know, it just seems expedient to me. Like, if we all decide to just get along and get together on the same page, things would be better. Thank you and good night.